Hello G's and welcome back to G Free with Friends and Family. Today I'm going to make something not really familiar with this kind of cooking and I don't think I've ever made anything like this before, or maybe I have, I don't know. But I'm not that familiar with Korean food and I've never tasted Korean rice cakes, but I've seen people eat them in YouTube videos and they look pretty good. They're a Korean street food and I like street food. In the summer, it's like you can walk around to different parts of the city and they always have some festival going on, and there's street food from all over the world you can find in New York in the summertime. But unfortunately, just as my interest in Korean street food peaked, there's no festivals. I really wouldn't be able to get to one anyway, so I figured I'd try and make my own, and I'm particularly interested in the Korean rice cakes. And they're not like our traditional rice cakes, but yeah, they're not like that. They're more like a thick cylindrical noodle, and they're soft and they're hot and they look yummy. I've seen one recipe where they took the glutinous rice flour and they just made a dough and then cooked it in the sauce, and the cooking process thickened the sauce, and that kind of looked kind of easy, like we like to do things over here, and it looked yummy too. Now I won't be making the traditional nothing's traditional over here. I won't be making the traditional Korean rice cake sauce because I don't really have the ingredients, but from the sound of the ingredients, I think I could throw a little something together that will be similar and good. And that's what counts, it being good. So I'm not even using measuring cups with this. I know what a dough is supposed to feel like. So I'm just gonna dump some of this flour in here, and this is the flour that I got from nuts.com in their gluten-free section. I think this is gonna be good. I really do. I hope you guys have faith in me. Or maybe I seem to have enough for all of us. And then I'm gonna pour some water in. I just poured a little water in because that's all they did in the video that I saw. Need a little more. I have a feeling this is gonna be so good. And whenever I say that, I'm usually right. I'm making those funny faces again. I think that feels good. That feels like a dough to me. Right. There we go. I usually put a little plastic down, but I clean the table and it usually ends up getting on the table anyway, even when I put the plastic down. So this isn't as easy as I thought. And then I think they roll it like this. Roll it out like this until they get kind of like a cylindrical. Maybe I put a little bit too much water. But we're gonna make this work and it's gonna be okay. Should I put it back in and put more flour? Or maybe I was supposed to let it set. Maybe I should look at that video again before I continue. Let's put the ball back in the pan. And we're gonna let it set for a while. I didn't really let it sit that long. And then I remembered when I was making the mochi that to roll it out and handle it, you use cornstarch. Now I don't have any cornstarch, but I do have, you know what, and I am going to cut this a little shorter because this long piece is hard to handle. I do have corn flour, and And so that's what I used. Roll that out a little bit. I'm going to cut it in cylinders. Now they're always very careful with how long they cut their little noodle type rice cakes, but we're not measuring today. And I think it'll look similar. Now, we're going to clean this mess up, and I'll meet you in the kitchen, and we'll make the sauce. Okay, G, so we're in the kitchen, and I am going to try and put together the sauce for the Korean rice cakes. I'm going to start out with a low flame. That's medium. That's low. Okay. And I'm going to pour in a little vinegar. A lot of vinegar. That's, I guess, about a quarter cup. And we're going to taste test as we go along. Put in some hot sauce to give it a little kick, because there's a little spiciness. And that's about 3 tablespoons. Then, the original recipe calls for kelp or kelp powder and also anchovy something or other. And I don't have any of that, but I do have fish sauce. So we're going to throw some fish sauce in there. That's about a tablespoon. And then we're going to put in some honey, because the recipe calls for sugar, but I feel like using honey. So that's about a tablespoon right there. I'm wondering if I should put some garlic in here too. When that heats up a little bit, the honey will melt more. I'm going to go grab some garlic. Okay, so this is hot, and I'm putting in 3 cloves of garlic. And I'm going to taste this. Give it a little taste to see what it needs. Yeah, that's good. Okay. I'm going to set the rice cakes in. The starch from the rice cakes should thicken the sauce. I think we could turn this up just a little. Maybe we'll turn it down a little. Oh yeah, these are firming up nicely. I wonder why this pan heats unevenly. these are just about done. So I'm going to plate them up and I'll meet you in the studio. Okay, G, so the rice cakes are done, and frankly and honestly, that hot sauce gets spicier when you cook it. So I'm going to need a little something to cool down my palate, and I figured a nice frosty limeade will do the trick. So I'm going to squeeze the juice of 2 limes. Because I want it nice and tart. A 1/4 cup of sugar. 6 ice cubes, and some water. Put the top on and blend it up. I think that's good. Okay, there we go. So now I'll meet you in the studio. Okay, geez, so now we're gonna taste this. Okay. So the noodles. Eating the noodles or the rice cakes, they don't taste spicy to they don't taste that spicy to chew them, but when you swallow them, you definitely feel it in your throat. That hot sauce became so spicy after I cooked it up that when I was plating this, it was actually burning my eyes. So I think, but the noodles are really good, or the rice cakes, they're really good. I keep saying noodles because they remind me of noodles. They're like noodles. Well, not really. They're chewier. Good. When I make this again, it'll be when I'm able to go down to Koreatown to either buy the sauce already made or at least get the ingredients that it takes to make it properly. It's a hot sauce. It's like, it tastes like a different sauce once you cook it. I'm used to just like pouring it on things. But yeah, once you cook it, it's a little different. Yeah. But it's good. And it could have used a little more fish sauce maybe, because I can barely taste it. But I like those little rice cake things. They're good. This limeade is good. You know what would have made it even better if I had some frozen strawberries or raspberries to put in the blender. My mother she used to put strawberries in limeade, and that was so good when we were kids. Is that what I've always wondered? Is that what a lime Ricky is? If anybody knows, drop me a comment, or I could Google it. But I like the interaction, so drop me a comment. This is good. It's just the hot sauce. Mm. And it even tastes different after you cook it. And maybe I should have used sugar instead of honey because it has a different taste. And that raw honey is expensive. What was I thinking? mm. Trying to be fancy. Mm. Excuse me, sorry. But I like the rice cakes. It just would have been better in a different sauce. So don't make that sauce that I made. Either order some sauce or see if you can get the ingredients to make the actual authentic sauce. Because I think that's what I'm going to do next time. I think the kelp powder would have been good. It would have given it a more fishy taste. And it had anchovy paste, I think they used, and some other seasonings. One was spicy, and yeah, I don't remember exactly what else. But yeah, it was the kind of things that you can't find. It was two spices that you definitely couldn't find in the regular supermarket. And I know, even if I went to the store, they don't have kelp powder over here, so that's more of a Whole Foods kind of thing. I'm not ready to get on public transportation yet. And we'll do this again because actually that sauce is getting to my stomach. But the rice cakes, perfect, perfect. I'm gonna sign off now, and I want you to remember to count your blessings. I feel blessed that I made the rice cakes and they came out good. The sauce, I can try it again. But count your blessings, be a blessing to somebody else, and be kind to yourself. That's why I'm not going to eat anymore right now. Oh, excuse me, it's giving me such gas, all that spice. Oh, I'm sorry. Until next time.